Hi, I'm Karen Terry from McGrath Team BT, and I'm delighted to be sitting here with my real estate coach, very good friend and industry expert, Adrian Bo. Adrian has been a real estate agent for over 35 years and has sold over $4 billion worth of real estate. There is so much confusion in the market at the moment, so I thought I'd invite Adrian in to help shed some light on what's really happening. Adrian, what's really happening in the real estate industry? There is a lot of confusion. People listen to the news for their expert advice on what's really happening, but what do you see? Because you work across such a broad range of markets and you also interview and talk to many of the best real estate agents in the country.
Well, thanks for having me, Karen. It was well publicised in Sydney. We witnessed 29.6% growth for that 12-month period leading into December 2021. Now, obviously, there's been some softening since then, and I think that was warranted given interest rates were too low and obviously inflation is now on the rise. So I feel as if we noticed sustained single-digit growth over the last 3 or 4 years, we'd still end up in the same position we are today. It was just quite a manic period over the last 3 years in particular. What have you noticed in your Forest market?
Yeah, so we were one of those markets that had extraordinary growth. It was beyond what Sydney had. We experienced between 35 to 40%. So extraordinary. We're obviously a reasonably affordable market. We have very big homes and we've got lots of land. So during that property boom that we saw during the pandemic, there was this big push to get into the northern beaches. We've now seen a correction of around about 20% across the board. And to your point, yes, if we annualise that over the last 2 to 3 years, we're still probably up 20% from where we were just 2 years ago. And what we've noticed over the past couple of months, Adrian, we've actually had a big increase in the volume of people coming through our open homes. We're back to between 50 to 100 groups inspecting our properties. So properties are still selling. We're still running very successful auctions. We're starting to see interest from people from out of the area, which, that had subsided just slightly throughout the last, that softening cycle at the start of the year. And all of a sudden we've got young families upsizing. It's a great market to upsize in. A lot of our local homeowners who we talk to are now looking at the market and wanting to take advantage of upsizing but staying within the same area because last year they were simply priced out of the market. Adrian, there's a lot of confusion in the marketplace. Owners are confused, buyers are confused, and the confusion is coming from there's properties out there with for sale by negotiation, for sale with a big range in asking price. What do you think is still the best way to sell a home?
I work with agents across the entire country, Karen, and I must say that auction as a process or an event is still the most efficient and effective and transparent way to sell real estate. And the reason I firmly believe in that is there's a sense of urgency, there's a deadline, there's a time frame for both stakeholders of the transaction to work towards. And if you are looking to gain finance, there is some time frame to arrange that.
On that time frame thing, Adrian, one thing that I'm seeing is people or agents setting auctions or forthcoming auctions with no date. It's completely confusing for a buyer. Why would they be doing that?
For me, I feel that if you're the trusted advisor agent who is providing the right transparent information to your client, then you shouldn't be hiding behind some vague or opaque process. It should be very transparent, it should be process driven, and there needs to be the same dialogue that's used with both the seller and the buyer to work towards a sale. Karen, yourself and your team are obviously selling the most properties in the Forest market. So the auction process is obviously working for you, whether it's selling at or prior to auction. So this is a time to embrace that process. What are you finding in terms of that methodology?
Yeah, great. Thanks, Adrian. So yes, we do auction all of our properties. We find it's the best way to maximise the selling price, but also understand the value of the home, because buyers can have between 10 to 15 and sometimes 20% flexibility in their budget. So the auction process allows us to de-gear that pricing and work with guide language. We try to be as accurate as we possibly can based upon the most recent data as to where we guide the property, and we believe as best as we can that we need to put a price guide into the market for our auctions to help buyers understand the value of this property and what we're looking to achieve. And yes, we have sold the most homes in the Forest market. We've sold 60 in the past 12 months. That's the most out of any agency. But we also work across the 5 Forest markets. So we get to see a broad range of properties and work with a broad range of homes and buyers. We're very good at introducing buyers who think they only want to work in Killarney Heights, introduce them to a beautiful home over in Davidson, and they've never even heard of that suburb before until they meet us and take them over to that market. We're really fortunate, as you said, I work with a team, so it's not all about me, it's about the people who work alongside me that help us achieve those results. I mean, you don't have 23 days on market, a 90% auction clearance rate, whether the market's going up or down, our clearance rate remains pretty steady and even, so the auction process works. Well-run auction process is what will work, not just put up a sign for auction and you know, don't do any work in the background. And then the other thing that's been really helpful for us is working across a number of sales in the area helps us be on our toes and on the front foot with what's really happening in the market, because every 30 days we feel like it starts to adjust with the change in interest rates. Therefore, we can have very clear, honest conversations with our owners about what's really happening in the market.
I agree with you, Karen. Being in the industry for 35 years, I've seen 14 market cycles, and this is certainly nowhere near the worst of it. In my opinion, it's impossible to pick the market at the absolute bottom to buy, and it's absolutely impossible to pick the top of the market to sell. So there's a lot of things in the current environment we can't control. We can't control interest rates, we can't control inflation, we can't control geopolitical issues. However, as a seller, if you appoint a terrific agent and you focus on how you present, market and price a home, there will always be buyers and a property will always sell well.
Thank you so much, Adrian, for coming in, talking to me, and hopefully we've provided some good, sensible advice to our market.
Absolute pleasure. Thanks for having me, Karen.